Do it. All on her little lonesome. It's fine. She basically calls him a bull in a china shop. Look, dude, you've got both sides of the gift. That makes you dangerous. You need to be taught a lot more. You got to settle down, because all this time that goes by while you don't know what it is you're doing, you're fucking dangerous, and you could cause a lot of damage. You also need to accept that this is true. No more of this, I'm not a wizard, I don't want magic bullshit. It is what it is. I know a lot of our objectivist friends can appreciate that. Look, subtractive and additive magic, like the Keeper and the Creator, and the living and the dead, are all just functioning to balance each other. They're not necessarily good or bad. It depends on your intent. So, Richard, if you don't want magic because you think it's bad, then don't use it for bad. Be good. Ta-da!
Yeah.
Like, super simple.
It is a very crazy concept, though, that, like, the underworld isn't inherently bad. That's just something that, like, we put on it as humans because we like life a lot.
Right.
We think it's
we
pretty
don't want to
cool.
die.
So death is bad, life is good, but that's not necessarily the case. Things just are what they are.
Right, they are what they are, and I mean, I think necessary is the perfect word, because, yeah, we all have to die. And Anne does go through this story, or this example about how, can you imagine what it would be like if nobody died? If, like, everybody just lived forever, and then we kept making more humans, and we couldn't kill the cows to eat them, because they would just live forever. Like, it would just overgrow, and it would be chaos.
We'd be walking on a ball of humans.
Right, exactly. Oh, gosh, that'd be hell on earth. So death is a necessary thing, and just because it's necessary and not the nicest thing, it doesn't necessarily mean it's bad.
I do think it's a little bit funny that Richard, he seems to have come to this point where he's like, I have magic. I'm a wizard. But fuck subtractive magic. I am not that.
Yeah, that's bad magic.
Like, he keeps getting to this point where he's like, I'll accept a little, but we're not even gonna talk about that other thing. Like, Richard, could you just be a little bit more open-minded? Like, just a little bit.
Only somebody like Richard could have both sides of the gift and be able to handle it.
Yeah.
He shows restraint when it's necessary. He uses his brain all the time to figure out the consequences, and is it moral, is it not? So, like, Richard, you should be glad that you have both of these, because you're literally the only person anybody can trust to use it.
Well, and it also came into his life really late, so he was able to grow up into a person without it.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure that had a lot to do with that. But I'm also wondering if that was because of his specific gifts. Like, did he not blossom? Like, I know that like, the weird specific instances are what spurred the magic to blossom, you know?
Yeah.
But is it only because of the specific magic that he has that it waited that long? Because other kids are 10, and they don't have to kill their dad to have the magic come out.
Well, I think maybe. I don't know that there's really a way for us to know for sure, but I also think the way he grew up and the way he views his life has a lot to do with it, too. Just like, he might not have had his magic until, like, 20s, but I think him shaping his mind when he was 8 has maybe not the same amount to do with it, but I think it's got a big part of it.
Well, and I guess now that I think about that, he didn't necessarily not have magic until then. Like, he did.
He just didn't know it.
Him remembering the Book of Counted Shadows was him using his magic. And
right.
Him calling the target throughout his life was him using magic. It's just something that we don't necessarily... Like, we weren't talking about it in that context. We weren't saying he had his magic before the first book.
Right. I mean, same for him. He wasn't putting it in terms of, I'm performing magic right now. That was just his instinct.
Yeah.
Which is kind of key for Richard. So, because of this power, Richard has the power, that was weird, to repair or destroy the veil, since he has both sides of the gift. That's why he's fucking dangerous. That's why he's important. Richard asks what his specialty is, and she tells him, look, you're a fucking war wizard.
You're a badass.
Yes. You're a diamond, baby. You're the most rare. And, of course, Richard doesn't like that.
He's the first one born in, 3,000 years. So, like you were just saying, he is probably the best for the job, and it's just really lucky that out of all the babies born in 3,000 years, they were like, that one.
Now, you might not think this, but you are exactly qualified for this job. So it is you, bud. But this means he can tear the veil, he can fight the Keeper, he can literally do all the things that he's been asking. How the fuck am I supposed to do that? Oh, by the way, you can totally do that.
That's the job of a war wizard.
Yeah. And, he has the capacity to fight for those who can't, which we know he also does. Richard recites the prophecy he hears in the tower and asks if his life is already decided then. Because, the prophecies told Richard and all of us that he has to perform this job. And Richard's whole thing is free will. He is not fucking interested if doing any of this means sacrificing his free will. Look, I would rather have a damn good last month on Earth than be a slave for the rest of my lifetime.
Yeah.
To whatever this is and you and them. I love life and all that, but, my life is mine, so I want to have it.
Yeah.
And that's not unfair.
No, and Anne assures him that his free will is kind of, accounted for. Prophecy is, a really weird fucking thing, man. It's it's predetermined, but it's not. You can change it, but you can't.
Yeah,
type
you
shit.
follow your free will, but prophecy is still going to come about one way or another.
Your free will is going to cause the prophecy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is going to happen, but you're going to cause it to happen.
Fucking bizarre.
So, yeah.
So Richard changes the subject because, he's not a huge fan of all that shit. And he asks about the Stone of Tears. And Anne tells him that it's only one of the seals that locks away the Keeper. That's why he's, not here. Because there's other ways to lock him down there. So calm the fuck down, okay? Number one, calm down. There's others, but it has the power to destroy the veil. That's why this is a singularly important piece.
Yeah, it is a dangerous object because even though it doesn't immediately mean the Keeper can just be like, hey guys, what's up? It does have the power to let him out if you use it in the wrong way.
Yeah, there could be some dire fucking consequences. Someone with both sides of the gift can also return it, sealing the veil. Another reason why Richard is exactly qualified to do the job that he needs to do. Because he's literally the only person that can do it.
Yeah.
That we know of.
Yeah, well, we killed the other one.
Ah, yes, that's true.
Well, we didn't. Richard did.
Yeah, we didn't kill anybody, I swear. Jade, I was with you all day yesterday. You
Were
gotta
you?
verify that. I was. I totally was. Yeah, we were, having a beer together. Here.
Oh, were we?
Yep. Yes.
You want to show me where we had those beers? Because I could use another one.
Yeah, well, I'll do that right now.
Okay.
We'll be back right after this. And we are back. And much as we expected, Richard does not want to take anything on faith. He asks for proof that he has subtractive magic. And Anne happily provides it.
Mm-hmm.
He's proved that he's got subtractive magic by getting through the shield.
That shimmery wall thing.
Yeah, that thing
there.
that was no big deal. Apparently he's opening doors. The metal plate that he slapped.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's why he's not supposed to be doing any of that shit, and why Warren was like, that's fucked up.
That's weird. And that he ended up in both towers in the valley since the magic was calling to him. I hadn't even, light tower, dark tower. Makes perfect sense now.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the
You're
moment,
like,
it
duh.
was just kind of random, like, oh shit, there's another building. Let's go. No, that happened on purpose.
Yeah, well, I think we assumed, it was shelter in the middle of a storm, that he was like, oh, cool, but he only got close to them because of his gift.
Right, and nobody without the subtractive gift could have done that.
And she also correctly assumes that he only took black sand, that he saw the white sand, he was like, yeah, that's cool, not really that awesome, and then went in the black tower and was like, huh, maybe I'm gonna need that. And he did. He took a little bit of it, and he's like, I only wanted a little. She's like, it doesn't matter. Because that shit is worth, like, a lot.
Yeah, a spoonful is worth kingdoms.
Because literally no one, except Richard, has been inside of a black tower since they were built.
Right. Which means he's literally the only person who can procure the substance. Now, there are other people who have subtractive magic, but they're not born with it. They learn it, and that's different. But still, they can't go into these towers to get the sand.
Right, and I mean, it makes sense, because obviously people have gone through the Valley of the Lost now. Like, that's where the white sorcerer sand came from. Like, all that white sorcerer sand that fucking Darkin had in the People's Palace...
Right.
...came from one of those towers.
Right.
Because somebody went through. So, people have been doing that for the last 3,000 years or whatever, but the black sand has never been touched. It's just crazy to me.
So, those wizards of old also built the Hagen Woods, which is a weird way to put that, but they created the Hagen Woods and the Mriswith for the one that they knew would be born with both sides of the gift.
Because of, like, prophecy and shit. They knew he was coming.
Yeah, and he needed a place to play. So
yeah, they were like, oh my god, it's going to be so great. There's going to be a baby born. Let's make him some toys.
We're going to put a sandbox over here with some cool towers. And we're going to put a woods with things to play with in there, or creatures that'll kill the baby, whatever.
It's going to be so cool.
So the sword is also apparently only able to be fully unlocked by somebody with both sides of the gift. So it's no coincidence that he ends up with the sword either.
No.
He is the one. He's Neo, man.
That confused Richard, it seemed like, for a minute, because he was like, wait, hold on. People have used this sword, though. Like, lots of people have used this sword.
Well, it's still fucking sharp.
Yeah.
That was my initial reaction. Like, well, yeah, duh.
It's also very interesting that although he has made the blade white and done all this shit with the sword, he still, himself, hasn't fully used the sword's potential.
Yeah, as much as he has learned with it, he's still not at 100%.
Yeah, so we don't know what else the sword can do.
Right. I mean,
maybe he could fly with it.
For a long time, we figured turning the blade white was like, oh, that was the thing it does. But the sword is a riddle.
Oh, I was like,
I was trying to be
more?
funny, and it just no, it didn't work. Richard hates riddles.
Yeah,
the sword's a riddle, but he loves. Yeah. Anyways, hey, look, beer. So she tells him to leave his sword next time he goes back to the woods, because he's like, look, I had to use the sword to kill the Mriswith. There's no way that I could have done it without the sword. And she's like, yeah, actually, you probably can. The sword helped you kill it, but you could do the same thing with just a knife. Just try a knife. Go barehand it.
Yeah.
Just spit in your palms and bring it the fuck on, you know? He doubts it, but he's like, yeah, we'll see.
It's very funny, too, because he was told he shouldn't go there at first. Like, everyone was like, stay out of there. And now, like, the head person in the palace is like, just go stroll out there. It's fine.
He can come see her whenever he wants. He can go to the Hagen Woods. Doesn't fucking matter. Oh, you're good, dude. Don't
Leave
worry
your
about
weapons,
that shit.
You're fine.
Yeah. So he doubts still that he's a war wizard. And she asks if he eats meat, which we know he's had an issue with.
Because war wizards can't eat meat.
Right. They can't do it.
Yeah, it's the balance for the killing that they must do sometimes. And we know Richard does a lot of fucking killing.
Yeah. And he's not super thrilled about it. But he still denies his subtractive side. And tries to prove it by mentioning items that he was attracted to. We know about the towers, right? In the sand. You were staring at the Stone of Tears when you saw it.
The Hagen Woods.
The Hagen Woods. All of this means that you do have subtractive. Like, dude, you're a fucking wizard. Maybe you have a couple of kinds of magic. Big deal. Roll with it. For me as a reader at this point in the story, I'm like, Richard, come on, man. I get it. Yeah. So you should get it. Please get it.
I think if we hadn't just gone through this with the initial you have magic thing, it wouldn't be so frustrating. Right. Because there were so many people at the end of the last book and beginning of this book that were like, Richard, you're a rare person. You have magic. And he was like, nah. And they were like, you're talking to a fucking dragon right now?
Yeah.
You have magic.
Maybe.